Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kent Clothier Sr. Welcome to our Experience Matters Live Facebook and Zoom event this afternoon. I got two great guests today. And let me introduce you to Melissa and Patsy. And
hello.
You guys say hello. I'm going to come back in just a minute and get them to talk about themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves and what they do and what they've been doing while we've all been locked down. So, but let me just say again, welcome as our event, as our group continues to grow. I think today there are about 850 members in the group.
Wow.
And a lot of people that will be on watching this, and a lot of people will watch the recording of it. But I just want to say, if the people that are coming on that are watching, if you will just hit the like button or the love button, it'll help us attract more people, and it'll improve the content as we get more people on the page. So if you guys will do that as we go through here, and we'll have a fun time here in the next 30 or 45 minutes talking to a couple of ladies that have been doing this for a while, and talk about real estate investing. But first, let me go to Melissa, if I can. Melissa, Tell us a little bit about yourself, and I know you're in San Diego, but tell us about Melissa and John and what you guys do and how we all came together.
Beautiful. So as you said, my name is Melissa Steele. I work with my husband, John Steele. We actually own a real estate company here in San Diego called Steele San Diego Homes, and we help clients with residential buy and sell, like residential real estate, and we help them invest. And we're also full-time investors ourselves too. So we actually crossed paths with you guys years ago now, I guess almost 7 years ago, which is wild. And ultimately, John, we had moved across the country. So we had moved from Buffalo, New York to San Diego, and we were following the dream and the sunshine. And John fell into real estate as a real estate assistant when we first moved here. And in that environment, we started to surround ourselves with a lot of people who'd made real estate investments, who had, had prior experience with you guys over at Memphis Invest. And we started running in a lot of the same circles that really had a belief and a mentality around the power of real estate investing. And so it just got us thinking, and we started questioning, we started learning. And as many of you guys know, as you start learning, you really start to embrace the, just everything that you are learning and digesting and understanding. And we decided to take the leap in 2013 with our first property. And then in 2014, the following year, we had kind of like tested the waters with the first one. And then we bought our next 3 the following year. And I'm sure we'll get into that more later. But yeah, we own 4 properties now, and we've loved the experience working with you guys. And overall, we just really help clients to achieve their dreams in real estate, whether that looks like passive income or, their primary residence here in San Diego, or investing, or whatever it looks like. So we do a lot in the real estate space on a daily basis.
So how big a shock, and I got to ask you this, was it moving from Buffalo to San Diego?
Oh, it was a shock for sure. We were debating where to move, to be honest, and it was January, and we were planning on moving in June. And, in Buffalo, New York, January is no joke. So you're waking up at 5 a.m. to shovel yourself out of the driveway, and then you're shoveling yourself back in at 5 p.m. Wow. So it was like mid-January, and I remember shoveling and looking at John and going, why are we waiting until June? We should leave right now. And we literally did. We put in our 2 weeks notice. We sold everything we owned. We packed up the car and we left by February.
Smart move.
Wow. So what have you and your family been doing during this lockdown as we slowly come out of it? I know San Diego is slowly coming out of it. My son lives out there. Slowly coming out of it, right?
It is. Yeah, it's been very interesting. Our business, we focused a lot on remote clients at the start of this regardless. About 25% of our business is helping clients relocate to San Diego or purchase properties utilizing technology and sight unseen, virtual reality, all of these tools that we're familiar with. So really for us, the biggest shift was within individual conversation. It went from individuals seeing how we worked our business and how we took so much to the virtual space, and having the story around, oh, I could never do that myself. I could never buy a property sight unseen, or, you know, utilizing technology that would never be me. And then seemingly overnight, COVID hits and people are like, how do I submit a sign and see an offer? Where's the virtual tour? Right. So for us, we went from kind of about 25% of our business of the, you know, being remote to pretty much 100%. We didn't see any clients for about 7 weeks. We've sold multiple properties now that we've never physically been to. And we're helping buyers with the same thing. I just sold a property in Big Bear to a buyer that I've never physically been to myself.
Thanks for Zoom, right?
Right? Yeah, technology is an amazing thing. We've got 360 cameras, we have virtual reality, and yeah, we've been doing, I mean, that's, I think, the one downside. We're finding ourselves so much more in front of our computer. Like, I do miss being out and about in houses physically, but for us, it's just been a very big shift in a technology space. But we've been busier than ever, honestly. I'm still waiting for our quarantine to hit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so grateful that we have not experienced any repercussion from what's happening. A bunch of clients did experience, you know, jobs lost, and a bunch took a step back in March. But what's interesting is when the market didn't cool off at all, now they're all jumping back in, and with even more fervor. Now they've been in their space for 60 days. They are ready to make that move, and they're ready to make it, you know, yesterday. And it's just interesting to see how hot the market is. May was actually our team's biggest month of business that we've ever had.
Very good. Congratulations. Let me go to Patsy and tell us a little bit about, you're in the Metroplex.
Yes, I've lived in Dallas my whole life. My husband actually grew up on the East Coast, and he moved here in 1980, and we met in 82. And I told him I'm a lifelong Dallasite. I'm not going to move to the East Coast. So he had to kind of adapt to make sure he was happy here. And we both just had been going about our business, working and stuff. And then I had, at the time we met, I was living in a condo. And so then when we got married, we bought a house and I leased the condo. So that was my first experience of actually having to try to manage real estate. And a condo is a pain. It was a pain when we were busy, and then suddenly they moved out and we had to try to get a new tenant. We had to fix things up. And one of my happiest days of my life was when I sold the condo. And then, like a lot of people, you know, we are grown up knowing, okay, well, how do we invest our money? And so I had a Fidelity account. I was investing in mutual funds and then some stocks that were, you know, good stocks, and everything was going fine until 2007, 2008 hit. And everything I owned was good stuff, but it all dropped in half overnight, practically. And I said, I'm done with this. And then someone said, have you considered passive real estate investing? And I said, well, what is that? And they kind of explained that to me. And I don't remember who told me about Memphis Invest, but I, you know, we looked you up, I did some research, and I thought, you know, this looks pretty good, that they do everything and I get the money every month. And so I bought my first house in 2010. I bought a second one in the latter part of 2010. I bought a third one, I don't know, 2011, 2012. And then I heard you all were opening up Texas thing. So I bought a Texas property in 2013. And, you know, I'm just loving having that money plop into my account every month. And I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about getting things fixed. You know, it just happens.
Wow.
And I'm sight unseen. I never have seen my Memphis properties. I have driven by one time my Texas property.
So
don't need to see it.
Just get that check every month, right?
I like that money. It's not even a check. It just automatically shows up in my account.
Well, tell me what you've been doing during this COVID lockdown. You know, we're in Grapevine, South Lake area out there. What part of the DFW are you in?
I'm in far north Dallas.
Far north Dallas.
I'm in Dallas County, and our laws are different in Dallas County than they are in the county north of us, which is called Collin County. Some of you have heard of Plano, Texas, and all of that. It's a little bit different. They're a little more liberal. In Dallas, we are required to wear masks everywhere, but I do get out. I walk in the neighborhood. I go to the store, but I always have a mask on. I'm real good about distancing. I had no problem doing that. I even had no problem going on the correct way on the malls, you know, or the stores, which the aisle I'm supposed to go. I can do all of that. But I do get out. I'm not just sitting at home. My husband's doing a lot of remodeling to our house. So, you know, and that's good. And then I help out.
Are you closer to like Richardson or Addison or
we're we're between Richardson and Addison, you
Okay.
know, and not too far south of Plano. That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
where we are. And we
Well, very good. Let me ask you guys a few questions, and these are
okay.
you guys both have been with us a long time. Then Melissa about 6 or 7 years, Patsy about 10 years.
Mhm.
So when you came in, you really didn't have any idea who we were, and I see that Patsy, you worked with Mark Cobb
Right.
over the years, and then
Right.
Melissa, you worked with Ashley Clonch over the years.
Mhm.
How's that relation? And those two, both of them have been with us, me, a long time. I think they're both over 10 years. I think Mark Cobb is probably closer to 12 or 13.
Yeah,
And
then I also work with Carol as far as monthly contact.
just hang on one second, Patsy. I'm going to get to Carol.
Oh, sorry.
I know. I was about to say, like, I need to shout out Carrie too, because
No, I'm
Carrie's
gonna get
always
to
helping
that.
solve my problem. I was like, wait a minute, what about
You guys
Carrie?
have got to slow down, and I'll get to those customer service ladies. Okay,
We're just
they're
too
my.
excited. What can we say?
Women talk more than men. Now you should
Oh,
know.
you guys are great. I got my whole list here. I got Carol and I got Carrie right here. I'll get to those two in just a second. Tell me how Mark and Ashley Clonch are doing for you guys. And they've sold literally thousands of the 6,000 houses that we have. They've done well over 2,000 between those two. How have they been for you guys to work with?
Great, really good, very responsive. Give me, you know, the information. You know, I've just been very pleased, which is why I've continued, you know, bought several houses over the years. So very happy.
Melissa,
Yeah, same. For us, we had bought the first one in 2013, probably similar to you, Patsy, almost like as a trial. You know, I didn't want to like buy a bunch of houses.
Didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? You know, I might as well try it out. And so, yeah, the first time around, I was very pleasantly surprised. You know, I tell clients all the time, because I've actually referred a good amount of clients to you too. I tell clients, of course, there's a cheaper way. Like Memphis Invest isn't the bottom. Like you can make money if you were to do, you know, the whole thing yourself. Yes.
I didn't want to do that.
And the convenience of the whole experience, the fact that it was so hands off, I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. And then, you know, we went to almost a full calendar year and we didn't experience any problems. That's when we started talking about buying more. But yeah, honestly, the experience working with the entire team has been pleasant the entire time. I've enjoyed it.
I'm so glad to hear that. Of course, we have 90 plus people that work for us in the 7 cities, and from our buying department to our IT department to our renovation department to our marketing department to our accounting department. I'm going to miss somebody here and get in trouble. Sales department, our closing department. Oh boy, I think I got them all. Hopefully, if I missed anybody, I apologize. But without this team that we have, that we wouldn't be able to do what we do today. And we did not really know what was going to happen back on about March 15th when all of this COVID hit. And our sales team has done a remarkable job we've continued to sell houses. We're not selling as many as we were. We were selling about 80 to 85 a month, and now we're selling about 60 to 65 a month as it starts to come back. And but we are managing over 60. I think it's 6,200 today in the 7 cities that we're in. And I think you guys know that we're in Little Rock and Memphis, Dallas, Houston, Tulsa, St. Louis. I don't think I missed anybody there. Houston, I think we got 7 cities. And Memphis by far the biggest one, 3,500, and Dallas has got about 1,500 over there. But we've got a great team of people over in Dallas that run that operation, and then the smaller teams in the other cities. But so what was the thing that really got you interested in us and continues to continue to be with us over all of these years? What are a couple of things that really and I know what I think makes us different, and I'll tell you what my thoughts are in a minute, but tell me what you guys think makes us different from maybe other people that you have done business with or are doing business with.
Well, I know for me, I think you all are very professional. I had confidence that you all really did do a lot of due diligence as to the markets you were looking at. And everything was top notch as far as, getting the houses purchased, taking care of them, any repairs, contacting me every month for any issues, any questions, and keeping even when there was turnover, a new tenant would just get in there really quickly, and just never ever had any kind of problems like that. And again, like I was saying, I like that money just hopping into my account every month, and it's just there, and I don't have to go out and mess with it. You all have been very professional about that. That's one of the things I really like.
Thank you. Melissa, what about you? What do you think?
I think I echo what Patsy said about the professionalism, along with the customer service. I think the customer service is something that I would hands down continue to partner with. And I really tell clients too who want to buy or invest nationwide that like the biggest thing that I think they need to do research on is the property management. Because you can buy property all day, but the management of it is going to determine, the success of the overall investment. So I think really, I think there's a lot of trust that we've built between the relationship. I've always felt very confident because of that professionalism and the customer service. I have experiences in, my job because I'm in real estate where I don't often experience that with property management companies. It's a lot of times a phone tag, or it takes me a week to hear back from them, or some of these common misconceptions that kind of give the bad apple to any name. The same thing with real estate agents, right? Like here in San Diego, we try and set a different stage for real estate agents. I feel like you guys ultimately really try and set a different stage for property management. And I can truly say that because there's one property, so honestly, in hindsight, would not do anything different. But one of our properties has been a little bit of a problem child. We've had like a break in there. It's had a lot of turnover. And regardless of what the issue has been, I can always count on you guys to help me resolve it. So it keeps me confident. I've never felt like, do I need to get rid of this property? Do I sell my whole portfolio? Like, no, I've never had those thoughts cross my mind because it's always like, let me call Carrie and we'll talk about it and we'll figure out a solution that's a win-win for both of us. At certain times, I've had to, come up with certain things that, at certain times you guys have had to help us out. But I love that there's always a partnership there. And like Patsy said, professionalism. Like I've never felt like I was the inconvenience to you guys. Like ultimately that I was a top priority and that I felt like your only client. And I think that there's something that's really important about that when you guys do have as large of a client base as you do.
Well, if I can expand on that just a minute, and we have over 2,000 clients today. We have over 350 clients that are in our WOW group that own 5 or more properties. We have about 35 investors today, I believe, that own more than 10 with us. And our biggest investor owns over 30 properties with us. And every one of them is the most important one to us. And I can't talk enough about our property management team and how important that part of our business is. And we hear these comments like you guys have all the time. Our job, the most important job in our company, and everybody knows this when you talk to any of our people, is renting houses. And if we don't rent houses for our owners and create that return and income, then we don't have a business. Mm-hmm. And so that is the number one priority today. And I think today with the number of properties we have less than 100 houses available today for rent. And
wow.
Our team rents about 150 every single month. We have about less than 100 available today. So they do a great job of it. But the final icing on top of the cake or pie, whatever the heck it is the customer service department. And I have long been a customer service freak and probably obsessed with it, even when I was in the grocery business many, many years ago, that I wanted to have services that other people didn't have. And yes, Melissa, I've had the same thing that you have, where when I had a so-called financial planner years ago that was never available and never answered the phone and different things where the service is just so bad. I wanted to have a company that did things completely different. Now today, a lot of the people in the business today are doing some of the things that we do. And I'd like to think that we probably set a precedent for a lot of other companies. But on the customer service side of the business, I always thought that I could grow a business if we showed clients that we genuinely care about their experience, whether it's a restaurant, excuse me, it's a grocery store, it's a real estate investment, it's a stock investment, it's a mutual fund, whatever we as consumers are buying, if somebody showed us as customers that they cared about them, genuinely cared about them, and then did it, not just talk about it, but do it, and that you can make a big difference in your business. So I talk to our people all the time about the experience that we want you and other investors that are on the call on our site, the group. We have existing customers. We have some people that may be considering being some customers, and we probably have some competitors in the group too, and that's okay. If somebody does it better than us, come on down, okay? But we're ready for that, because the little things that we do, and I'll talk about renting houses, and I'll just take a second here. Even the experience that the resident has is utmost important to me. And when a resident calls in with a maintenance call this afternoon at 2:22, I want to try to fix that by 5 o'clock today. Oh, we'll get out there by 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. And Nate and our people that work in Premier and all of our cities know that we want to treat those residents exactly like we want to be treated. If that air condition is out this afternoon in Dallas and Arlington, Texas at 2:22, I want it fixed today, because that's the better experience. And then that resident will consider staying on that lease and renewing the lease with us, because we're going to go get things done that are reasonable. We're not going to go out there and do things that we don't think it needs to be done. But any quality of life issue, a broken toilet, a leaky sink, a roof, whatever, I want that done. And we don't always get that done by 5 o'clock today, but that's the goal. And certainly by early tomorrow morning, and all of our people have that mindset, and all of our vendors know that we want to do that. Now, the same thing comes back with our investors, comes back with our vendors, and comes back with our employees, that we want to treat all four groups of these people the same way and make their experience working for us, whether it's a vendor. If a vendor has a problem with one of our rehab people, or has a problem with getting paid or something, and then again, I want that fixed within the hour. I don't want to put that off. If you guys have a situation, Carol and Carrie and all of our 6 or 7 ladies in the customer service department today can do and can get it fixed for you quickly. And the whole idea is when we started, and again, Patsy, I'll go back to Carol, because she was the very first person that I hired 17 years ago.
Wow.
And I hired her and I said, I don't really know what's going to happen here. We're going to see what we can go do with this business here. And I've been an entrepreneur since 1983. So hard work will make something happen here. And so here we are today, where we are today. But she has been instrumental, as have the other customer service ladies. But I wanted to do a model where we called you guys when you closed on your house. The people that close on a house today, our customer service ladies will call you the first month every week to see how we're doing. The investment's doing okay. We're on it. Do you have any questions? A lot of new people kind of get scared about passive income. They've never seen the house. They're kind of worried about it. And so we do that for the first month. And after that, we want to talk to our investors every single month. Good, bad, and ugly. How are we doing? What do you need? Here's what's going on with your house. We got it renewed. Oh, we got a maintenance call, whatever, to bring you up. Now, me, I just want to know, if it's bad, tell me. If it's good, tell me. If they renewed, good. If they paid, great. Send me my check, like Patsy said, okay? That's all I need. But I think in our industry that we're seeing more and more companies do what we do. And I even see some financial companies on TV starting to do something like this, better communication. And it's just, if I think customers feel better, I stood up in front of a group in Hawaii about 3 or 4 years ago. We got about 30 investors over there that own a couple hundred houses. And you put your head on the pillow at night, go to sleep. Don't worry about the investment. We have it. We'll take care of it. And today, over 50% of our investors have never seen their properties. They've never seen them. And people think that's crazy. But now you guys are, let's tell me, this is almost like going to be the new norm here, okay?
It works.
Let me ask a question, you guys. what piece of advice, if there's somebody listening on the call today, what piece of advice would you give any new client that was considering buying a house from REI Nation? What advice would you give them today? Either one of you.
Well, I would just say that I think you all really do your research, you do your marketing, you take care of business, you take care of the properties, and you take care of your clients. And I've always felt like if I had any issues or any problems, it was going to be dealt with immediately. And you can't say that about a whole lot of companies, but I can easily say that about your company.
So the message from you is that if you buy a property from us, whatever you know that we're going to do what we say we're going to do, would that be?
Absolutely. And I guess I had confidence because when I was researching you initially, I wanted to make sure that I felt like you were comfortable about where you were purchasing properties for rental. Are these good markets? Are they going to stay good markets? Are they going to go through bad times? What happens if they go through bad times? But then after getting in there, I felt very comfortable that you all stayed on top of all of that. And when you started looking at new markets for new properties and new houses, you researched all of that, so that didn't happen. You didn't suddenly move in to get a house and then everything dropped in half overnight, which happened to me in the financial market. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So I've been very pleased with that.
Melissa, what advice would you give somebody?
I think for me, so the feedback, I get this question a lot because I'm a real estate agent. So I get, what's the one piece of feedback or advice you'd give your clients? And I think the same piece of advice really applies here. I encourage anybody who's been on the fence, who's thinking about it, who might be holding themselves back, stop trying to time the market. I think it's really difficult for the best of the best investors to time the market. And realistically, an investment like a passive income property, it makes sense because of the numbers. The market could crash tomorrow. And because you have a tenant in place, the longevity of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage should outlive the downturn, right? And so I see clients continually get in their own way, hold themselves back, wait years as life passes them by because they're listening to the story in their head versus just going for it. And I think if I have any feedback to say, I am, like, my husband and I, we're younger than a lot of the other investors. We're young real estate agents. We're about half the age of the average real estate agent. And we get a lot of slack for that. But at the same time, I think there is a lot of value in just going for it. Yes, we've been in very difficult situations. Yes, we've stretched ourselves very far. But in hindsight, would we do anything different? No, because I think in every situation, even in the ones where our back has been against the wall, we've figured it out every single time. And I think if you're sitting there trying to time things or have it looked perfect, it's not going to look perfect. Literally no investment is ever going to be perfect. But I think what's very powerful about you guys and Memphis Invest is that the numbers are accurate. They aren't BSing, you aren't BSing us. That's really what we wanted to see with our first property. Is the return going to be as great as it was, for the, is it going to be as great as what it is as promised? And it was actually even better. And just like a side note from a personal perspective, we never really know things until they're in hindsight, right? Like hindsight's always 20/20. And when we moved to San Diego, we had a very difficult decision. We had about $100,000 and we could buy basically a single family home here in San Diego. And that could have been our down payment, or we could afford 1 to 4 properties in a different area. And we went for it and we just decided, screw it. Let's decide if we actually want to stay in San Diego first. Let's buy the passive income property. And the reason that we actually bought numbers 2, 3, and 4 is I fell into a management position when we first moved to San Diego, and I had like a paycheck. So I wanted to use that paycheck to be able to buy property number 1, right? With all the things I was learning. And so my job started to get really rocky. And I knew that on John's real estate assistant position, we wouldn't be able to buy and qualify for a house. So I was like, okay, my job started to get rocky. Let's buy number 2. And that's why you guys helped us buy 3 and 4. We actually bought numbers 3 and 4 concurrently. They closed on the same day, which was very challenging, but you guys were up for it. And they closed the Monday after I got fired on the Friday. And I kid you not, like, so many people were like, oh, lending and all that stuff was verified and, technically all these different things. But I am so grateful, that the universe really supported us in that, because ultimately, had we not had those properties, John wasn't making a lot of money. That $1,200 or so bucks of income, because each one was making about $300, that helped to float us for months as I like focused on my health, as we planned our wedding, and then we actually got married and used our wedding money to start our real estate business. But that's like, hindsight's always 20/20. And for us, if we'd made different choices and we'd held ourselves back, to be honest, we could have lost it all by not going for it. So I encourage you guys to go for it. Take the leap.
Story. That's a great story. And just for all of our listeners that are on the call, again, we said it a few minutes ago, when you come on, if you'd hit the like button or love button, it helps us create other people to follow us and continue to get content on here that we're trying to do. So, that brings me back to what I talk about a lot, and I have talked about our reputation, our credibility and integrity. That's the most important thing to me as we deal with these four groups of people. And again, the four groups of people are our clients like you guys, our vendors, our residents, and then of course our staff and people that work for us. And again, we want to treat people the way we want to be treated, do the right thing, and just work hard. And it's important to me, the experience that all of these people have and you guys have with us. And are we perfect? No, we're not. We're not the perfect company. Do we have? We're very particular about people that come in, and we have from time to time we get investors that come in that want to do our job. They want to run the whole thing from where they are. Well, then we're probably not the right fit for you guys. And from time to time we lose people because they don't like some of the things, the way we do it. But we're pretty structured. We've been doing it for 17 years. We have a pretty good idea. I'd say our overall rating with our clients is 99, maybe 99.5%. Again, I know we can't make everybody happy, but we're certainly going to try to make that experience an unbelievable thing. And that's the priority with us on doing that type of thing with you guys. But let me stop for a second and see if you guys had any questions that I could answer for you. See if there's anything that's on your mind.
Well, I know you have mentioned this. We were all wondering back in March and April, not knowing, okay, what is this COVID going to do to our properties, to rental income? Are people not going to be able to pay? Are they going to move out? And I think, and you all said you had those same concerns, but, so far it seems like that's being weathered pretty well. I really haven't seen a real big issue.
Well, let me tell you what we did. Let me tell you what we did back on March 23rd. And we saw this coming, and we've had over the years, we've had 2 or 3 crises come up in our business or in the country or whatever that we had some floods back in Memphis 10 years ago that everybody got all, the national media said, the Mississippi River was going to, all this stuff, which didn't happen. But so on this thing, towards the end of March, we pulled together our executive team, and we didn't know what was going to happen with April rents. So I took 8 of our most experienced people that all been with us 8, 9, 10 years. And we formed this task force that, first off, we looked at the rents that had been paid on March 25th for April already. And that was about equal to what was paid on February 25th for March. So we knew that even in the bad news 10 days ago, that we were getting rents in already for April. So then as we got into April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, this team stepped in and went to work on people that hadn't paid. And we were in contact with them. How can we help you? What do you need? Are you going to get a check from the government? Are you going to get unemployment? Did you lose your job? Are you furloughed? And we got this list down to about 300 or 400, 500 people led by Nate Gray. And they went to work on this group of people. And we ended up having, I think it was 95% of the rents collected for April. I think we came back in May with just about the same number. They're reporting to me this morning that June is starting off good so far. We don't really get a really good reading on the month to about the 5th or 8th. Today's the 3rd, but we're right there with last month on the 3rd. So we micromanage this like, it's like, and we're planning on, because we're going to get asked these questions. And so the rents are coming in. We're aggressively pursuing them. Our hands are still tied right now with any evictions or any of that stuff, which rightfully so. So we're doing, I think that's, some of that expires at the end of June. But our team has done a really, really good job of stepping in and talking to our residents. And I think a lot of that goes back to the type of service that we've given them that, you know, we're not in there pounding on them for the rents. We're pounding on them on, we got to get the rent in. How can we help you? What can we do? Do you need to pay half now, half the next month? Did you get furlough? So we're trying to figure out and be on the offense instead of on the defense on this. And our team has done a great job, and our investors have reaped the rewards of that, and we'll continue to do that. And June is looking pretty good to start up. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be good. Melissa, do you have a question for me?
I don't actually. Mine was right in along with Patsy's. I was going to ask what the numbers were showing in regards to like rents received. But you said it was like in the 90%. I was just curious. Like honestly, in March, you know, we were kind of bracing for the worst. We were like, you know, what's going to happen, you know, and then as I got the notifications, I was like, oh, 1 of 4, you know, 2 of 4, 3 of 4. And then we ended up getting all 4. Did you end up getting all of yours too, Patsy?
All came through. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you guys did a really good job handling that and being more proactive, because I know that was not the case for some of my colleagues who also have, you know, properties and rentals. You know, not all of them had their rents come in. So it was just, that was my only question. Other than that, yeah, anytime other than that, I just call Carrie.
That's why they're there.
Carrie is great. She does a great job for us. Every one of the ladies in there, and Carrie and Carol handle you guys. And to me, it should make you feel good to know that you have somebody there that you can talk to and get you the answers, and hopefully you not get put on hold for an hour and all that BS that sometimes we all have to go through. And it just frustrates me to no end when that happens to me, even personally. And I just wanted to create a situation where that doesn't happen. Somebody is your concierge, your boots on the ground here, that is going to take care of your investment, overlook it, and report to you everything that's going on. And most of the time it's all good, but occasionally there's a maintenance, occasionally there's a move out. And our average tenant today, or resident today, is staying over 5 years in the house. Wow. And wow. So that's a good thing. And we work on renewals 6 months out. And so we're working on renewals all the way through November and December, and trying to get them to sign a new 2-year lease. We do about 160 renewals a month, which is 160 people that are not going to move out, and it's not going to cost the investor money. And so that's those kind of things that we do a little bit differently, that we used to do a little bit differently. I think some other people may be doing some of those things now, but we've got really great people, experienced people that know what to do, how to handle it. We're here to serve. That's our job. But let me see if there's any, I've tied you guys up for 40 minutes. Let me see if there's any final thoughts that you guys might have, and then we'll wrap this up.
The only thing I can say is that if anybody is considering this and they're not a real estate, Melissa's a real estate professional. I'm not, even though I own that condo and I couldn't wait to get rid of it. Yeah, that was a nightmare. But if you're on the fence and not sure because you can't come see the property and you don't know how it's going to be managed, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go see the property. It's going to be taken care of. And if anything goes wrong, it's going to be taken care of. And I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years with you guys, and I feel very comfortable and very confident that if there is an issue or if there is a problem, I get on the phone with Carol and it gets taken care of.
So Patsy, experience does matter, right?
It does. It absolutely does. And I'm just very tickled. You know, passive investing, I didn't know what I was getting into. I knew I liked real estate, but I was sick of the one that I did try to do. I never want to do that again. And real estate is good. You get money. You know, it's different from owning a stock where you might get a little dividend. This is, you're getting real money every month.
Just send me my check, right? Just send me my check, right?
Yeah, send it to me, and your property appreciates. You know.
List of final thoughts.
Yeah. And to piggyback, because I second everything that Patsy said. A little side note, you'll kind of get a little token of badassery too from your friends who now know that you bought a property sight unseen. All of our friends, they're like, wait.
Hang on. I got to write that word down. What'd you say? Badassery?
Badassery.
I like that. Okay.
You'll get a token of badassery because your friends are going to be like, wait, you own a property in Tennessee? And then I say, I own 4. And they're like, why Tennessee? And I say, it's a great market. I've never been there. So You'll get a token of badassery too. For
Oh,
buying
that's funny. I
properties.
like that. I wrote that down. All right. So let me say, all right, I'm not gonna let y'all go yet because we got a couple questions. I've been
Okay.
talking so much, I forgot to look at these. All right. So who is this? Matthew wants to know, what have you guys seen so far as appreciation on the properties after 7 to 10 years?
I feel like, so passive income, it's hard because you don't really want to be counting on your appreciation. It's kind of like the cherry on top. The beauty about passive income properties is you're buying in markets that don't appreciate, they don't fluctuate like substantially because they're very stable, confident investments, right? Like you would hope to not lose a lot of money as well if there was a downturn. So I think over the last 7 years, we've probably seen about 5% of appreciation, which like compared to a market like San Diego, people would scoff at. But for a long-term buy and hold, it's a very great rate.
Very good. Let me ask you this, Melissa, I got one specifically for you. For Melissa, can you elaborate on how the return has exceeded your expectation? How has your investment outperformed?
Yeah, like other things. So like if we had made the choice to put our $100,000 into different things at the start of all of this, right? I think there's different returns, and hindsight's always 20/20. With this particular investment, I really loved the fact that, like Patsy keeps referring to, like you legitimately get money, like you get a cash return. So when I lost my job and was let go of my job, like I'm grateful that I had the spidey senses that was happening to be able to align and purchase the properties before I lost my paycheck. And we knew that passive income would support our lifestyle. If we hadn't had $1,200 of income, I would have 100% been forced to immediately find another job. And probably we would not have been able to afford to continue living in San Diego if I hadn't been able to find a good one. But realistically, those properties helped us to establish the lifestyle that we have, to start our business. Like when we first started out our business too, and John and I were using our wedding funds to, start a business, it took us almost 8 months to actually start generating income from Steele San Diego Homes. It took us about 8 months for us to acquire and close a deal, which is a pretty normal startup time. Like we weren't a failure by any means. The next 8 months after that first 8 months, we sold 18 homes. But that first lead up, I look back and I am so grateful for the fact that we had $1,200 of income every month, because it really has helped us to just lessen the blow in months where we didn't have income or that were extra tough. Like having the income on April 1st from these 4 properties when the business had a lot in question was very reassuring. We were like, well, we've got the 1,200 from that, So I think that's how it differs. It's very hands-on, like it's tangible. I don't have to wait 50 years to experience the benefits. I'm experiencing them right now.
Let me ask this question for Patsy. Patsy, have you used the REI insurance, and how has that experience been?
Yes, I have. Initially I had my own insurance that I purchased here, but then when REI started having the insurance, it just makes it a lot easier. It just comes in, and it was a similar price, but it comes in, I don't have to worry about it. It just comes in and it works fine. I've never actually had to make a claim. I've been fortunate. I've never had any, like you said, you had a break-in. I have not had any problems with any of my properties. So I have not had to use it, but it covers everything. And that's what I wanted to make sure. How about loss of income, loss of this? Everything is covered in it. So I've been very happy.
From my experience, it actually has better coverage than my last. So that problem child property that I mentioned, it was broken into actually right when we started our business. So as you guys know, the universe likes to try and toss a lot at you. When it rains, it pours. So we were first starting out in our business. We were about 3 months in, and we had a break-in, and it had been vacant for like 65 days. And I didn't realize that our old policy had a vacancy clause that after 60 days, they didn't cover it. That was fun. So through that, actually, that was one of the things that you probably love this about me, Kent. That was actually one of the things that kind of started to initiate the insurance discussion for you guys, because it was such a big issue for us at the time. We were like, okay, so how are we supposed to know? You know what I mean? And for you guys managing so many properties, it's hard to know what each policy is, right? Like it's virtually impossible. I wouldn't ever expect you guys to know. So there was a certain level of responsibility that I thought was really powerful that you guys took on your end, even though I think it's completely unreasonable to have the expectation that you would have any idea as to what my insurance would be, right? You guys partnered with me to figure out, okay, how do we prevent this from not happening in the future? And that was really what I liked, because through our conversations, through calls just like this, we were able to establish, and then I ended up, jumping on the insurance as soon as it was established, and we've literally never had an issue since. And we've had to address a few different things through the insurance, but you guys, the coverage is much better. There's clauses in place like that protect us as the landlord. And I think that there's a lot of insurance policies that don't have those safeguards in place. So if you guys do have insurance on your properties that is not, the partnership with Memphis Invest, I forget what it's called exactly, the insurance, but I encourage you to look into it, because when I compared the two, the coverage was actually much better than the one that I had. And despite paying a monthly policy, it didn't cover anything that I experienced anyways. They, as many insurance companies, like to try and scapegoat, where you guys, I feel like, have addressed things head on.
We have about, I think today, probably about 75% of our investors are on our insurance program, and it grows every month. We bring about 95% of the houses that we close every month, the people that buy the houses, 70, 60, 70, 80 closing a month, they all get on the insurance. So it must be pretty good. But I just, a viewer wanted to ask that. So let me wrap this up and say, do y'all have any final thoughts today? Was this what you thought it was going to be today?
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, it's been great, and I'm glad you wanted to have some women on here, that we also know how to do this, you know?
We're going to do it again. I may have you all back again, but this has been great. I really appreciate you guys taking a few minutes today to get on the call. And I know our viewers and people on the group will love hearing from you guys and hearing your stories, because there's nothing for me to let me just be quiet and y'all do the talking, and that's what people want to hear, all right? Because when other people out there can tell our story and talk about what we do in all the years, that makes a big difference, because there's a lot of people out there that do what we do that maybe do it differently, or so you just got to be careful what you get into. But the experience really matters with us after all of these years. And when we get a new client and they come in and they've done all their homework, and it kind of comes back to conversations like this and videos. Because today people can go to our website, they can check us out, they can see all the testimonials on there, they can see 30 episodes of my podcast from a couple years ago, and they can get a feel for if it's the right kind of people that they can trust and that they want to do business with. So ladies, on behalf of the Clothier family, me, Chris, Brett, my wife, Sherry, we just want to say thank you very much for letting us have the opportunity to earn your business and to continue to do. It's our pleasure to serve you every single day. And I look forward at some point, maybe you guys come into Memphis when we can all open back up. We used to have 6, 8, 10 customers a month come to our Memphis office. So maybe at some point we could do that and we get to see you guys again. But again, thank you very much for your time. You guys did great. You did awesome today. Very proud of you. You guys did great. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Melissa. Bye.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
All right. Bye-bye.